Joe Vardon, he is the NBA senior writer for The Athletic. Recent column in Kyrie Irving's big moment with the Celtics. He's come to really feel for LeBron James. Joe, good morning. How are you?
Hi, Dan. I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm just curious, what is the game plan for the final couple of weeks here for the L.A. Lakers? Is there a chance with all these injuries that maybe they sit down LeBron as well?
Well, on the one hand, you'd think so. He's 34 years old. He played 104 games last year, on to 8 straight finals. Now is the time to put him in mothballs as much as you can and get him ready for what they hope is a much, much better year next year. But they have some problems with this. One is a fan problem. It's been a disaster of a year. And LeBron, he just hasn't quite connected in L.A. Within the organization and, with the fan base there. And sitting him down, I think, would be a problem. I mean, they have season ticket requests have gone out. They're asking for a 16% increase. So that's an issue. And then the other thing is just, he is healthy. And so, league rules kind of prevent this. So I could see it, but I think it'll be a little while before we get to that point, and maybe it'll just be more like he doesn't play back-to-backs, or maybe he doesn't play a couple road games.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out, though, Joe. What can the league do, or what would they be aware of with a healthy scratch for LeBron James?
Yeah, I guess you could say, well, he's aggravated his groin or something to that effect. But, if you look at what's going on in New Orleans with Anthony Davis, they know he's healthy, so he plays. He doesn't play in the fourth quarter. You can't litigate the minutes that a guy plays. But they have, basically dating back to a few years ago when the Cavs, that LeBron, Kevin, and Kyrie from the same game out in L.A. against the Clippers. Basically, from that day, the league has mandated that star players who are healthy have to play. So, what do they do to the Lakers in the event that LeBron goes away? I'm not sure. I just know that this has kind of been the rule for the last couple of years.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out this team as they move forward. Let's say they don't get Anthony Davis. Now, do they have a pretty good sample size with these younger players that they know moving forward that they're just temporary, or is there somebody who could actually survive the cut and not get traded by the Lakers?
Well, Dan, this thing over the weekend with Brandon Ingram is a huge development.
Yeah.
Huge. And it's scary as anything for him. But beyond that, you can't trade him now. Who is going to this summer, take him on without having it, having that cleared up if he's going to be able to return and be the player that he was and was heading kind of trending to be. And so it's tough. There's this huge crop of free agents, right? And sort of none of them are slated as of now to wind up in LA. The name you never hear about anymore is Jimmy Butler. It's almost like he's been kind of lost as the Sixers beefed up their roster. Maybe he's the guy they look at, but a lot comes back with Anthony Davis. If they can't trade for him, then you have to wonder, whoever does get him next year, is it a 1-year rental?
Yeah.
Assuming that it's a contender that gets him, that it's kind of hard to imagine that. So then if you're the Lakers, you have to, I think, probably look at spending some of your cap space and try to make a trade or two to get better and just move on in a different way.
Talking to Joe Vardon. He is a senior NBA writer for The Athletic, joining us, Dan Patrick Show. Do you think the Lakers regret bringing in LeBron? Too early to say?
No, I don't think so. I think, and this is kind of something I've been chewing on. The Lakers are run by Magic Johnson, who himself was a star. And then the general manager is Rob Pelinka, who was Kobe's agent. So between those two, they feel like they had ample experience with kind of a transcendent star in the middle of the team. But I still don't feel like they I don't feel like they had done enough to really understand LeBron and what it's like to run a team with him. And I think the evidence is pretty clear just based on how they built the roster and what they said at the beginning of the year, which was, well, we're trying to avoid what Cleveland was. Cleveland and Miami before it were organizations that put largely specialists and other really good players around LeBron and took the most took advantage of what LeBron does best. Now, this isn't to say that LeBron wasn't complicit in how this roster was put together. He was, but I think it's more of the style of play. LeBron wanted more playmakers. It's true. He wanted other people to be able to handle the ball. It's true. But everything, of course, when this works well, runs through him. And, of course, he's the one who generates the offense. And that's kind of not how the Lakers play. I mean, yeah, he's their leading scorer, but they were more of just whoever has it, get out and run. And they led the league in pace, I think, for a while. Or were right up there, and that was kind of, I think that was like a real thing that you can point to, that they just didn't do enough to kind of understand what works well with LeBron. I mean, the Cavs and the Heat did this a certain way and got to 8 straight finals. Now, the Lakers probably weren't going to make it to a finals anyway, but I think they probably should have stuck more to the same recipe that the last 2 teams that had LeBron used. It works pretty well.
I'll leave you with this, with Golden State losing again last night. You can see at one point, if you're a lip reader, Steve Kerr has a disparaging comment about Draymond Green. We've had the drama with Kevin Durant. Klay Thompson has been injured. They just sort of, they must hate the regular season. And I know they can turn it on and off, Joe. Here we go again. You blow a lead. You lose at home to Phoenix, and then Klay Thompson said, hey, we need the fans to be excited about this. If the players aren't excited about playing Phoenix, why should the fans be? Is there any concern here? And the Rockets are playing well. Maybe Boston's figured out something. Is it still Golden State's NBA, if they want to win this or not?
Yeah, it is. The regular season, and this is I think this is a problem for the NBA. But the regular season is just it's largely meaningless, and I think it'll be that way until the Warriors kind of break up. But yeah, I mean, I see no real concern based off of what happened last night or what's been happening this year. I think what will be interesting is to see how they manage DeMarcus Cousins in matchups against teams that are smaller and can switch, and the Celtics being one of them in a potential finals. But, just about this thing with the regular season, I spent some time with Kyrie last week in L.A., and one of the things that we discussed that he's kind of relearning, kind of re-remembering is just how long and silly and stupid the NBA regular season can be. And all this stuff happens all year, especially if you have a star-laden team like the Celtics or the Warriors. And that's all it is. It's just fluff. It's just outside noise. And when you get to the playoffs and you can strategize for a series and you can put the ball in your stars' hands and all the possessions matter, it's just a different sport. And, the Warriors clearly have the experience. They clearly have the talent. They have the confidence. They have the it. So yeah, this is their league. Prohibitive favorites coming in for sure.
Thank you, Joe. Good to catch up with you again, and have fun at The Athletic.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me, Dan.
That's Joe Vardon, one of their lead NBA writers. Dan Patrick Show brought to you by Mercedes-AMG. Be prepared for whatever comes your way. The all-new GT 4-door coupe, because life's a race. Visit your local dealership for a test drive today. By the way, if you missed any of the interviews from this program, the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, just go to the Dan Patrick Show app, where you can listen from inside the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave. Mercedes-AMG, driving performance.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.